Hi everyone, this is a short tutorial to help you better understand writing for science, objective language versus subjective language. Let's take a look here at the slide deck that I created for you all. And it opens with this very simple slide, writing for science, objective versus subjective. And then we dive into this slide that provides some basic information about how to write objectively versus how to write subjectively. So when you write objectively, here on the left, what you really want to do is focus on facts rather than feelings or opinions. Because you want to be logical and straightforward when you provide information. And all of that goes towards a goal of providing an accurate description of the subject or the topic so that the information that you're providing in there can be used to solve other problems effectively. You don't want other people to have to interpret what you said in your objective writing in a way that might lead them to make the wrong conclusion, that might make them to think you were saying something that you weren't. Objective language is the language of science. Scientists really want us to understand the facts and understand that a lot of what they work in is hypothesis and in educated guesses based on evidence. And so it's real important to scientists that we use precise language so we don't say something is absolutely factual if it's not, and also so we can use the evidence that we are reading to make really informed decisions about the choices we make in our lives, especially those that affect other people. Subjective writing has a different goal in mind. So, subjective writing is focused on feelings or opinions rather than facts. It's really about being creative and expressive with the goal in mind that is going to spark an emotional reaction to the subject or the topic so that that information can be used to entertain or engage or persuade someone. The goal in subjective writing is to convince people to have a certain reaction, even when it's just there to entertain or even when it's there to express how you are feeling. That language, that subjective language, is trying to get an emotional reaction of some sort out of the audience, out of the person who's reading it. And that's very different from objective language, which is not trying to create an emotional reaction, is trying to create an intellectual reaction, a reaction inside of your head to say, I know this information is true and accurate, and I can use that information to form opinions. So what comes next are a couple of slides to use as an example for you to do this task. So what I'm asking you to do in this task is to look at an image that has some details in it, and these images were found by other students in the room, which are students, I meant to say learners. Mr. Ryder's making this still in his second week, so I'm still getting used to using more precise language about Overman Academy and how we do in the CRCS family. So a couple of learners in the room helped me find these images, and we're using them here to help you better understand objective versus subjective. So if we look at this image here in the middle, what we're going to need to do is describe this image objectively in the space on the left and subjectively in the space on the right. Here's a sample, and I'm going to write it right here in the middle of the video so you can see how it's even difficult for me sometimes, even though I'm crazy old and I've done this a lot of times, it can still be challenging to write objectively and then also subjectively. So, objective language about this. There is a person leaning against a wall of stone or concrete. It is a little difficult to discern if it's concrete or stone. I'm pretty comfortable saying it's concrete, but I don't know it's certain. But it seems to have evidence of that. The texture on the wall suggests, this is a key word in objective writing, it suggests, the information, the evidence provided suggests this is a concrete wall. There is a grid pattern on the wall that extends from the wall. Now that gets a little confusing and a little difficult to understand, so I may want to go back and take that information out, but I also notice it immediately. And here's another thing that you can do. You can use experiences that you know to make comparisons. It is not unlike a tic-tac-toe pattern or a plaid pattern. So I'm using two comparisons, saying it's not unlike those things because it is very close. And that's another way that you can sort of use creative thinking to help you still remain pretty objective. The person is wearing pants with stripes, white casual shoes. If you zoom in, you can see that they're not dress shoes. They're white casual shoes and a black coat. So these are objective facts that we can look at about this image here. Okay, there's other details there as well that we could include, but I just want to make sure that I've provided 3 to 4 sentences that are, in fact, objective. Now, jump over to subjective. There's this dude leaning against the wall, and he's looking super depressed. For some reason, he's not wearing sneakers, or he's not wearing socks, and that's probably uncomfortable. I want to give him a hug, but he doesn't seem in the mood because, well, concrete wall. So, like, this is coming from my point of view. I don't know if any of this is accurate, right? It does describe the picture. There is a person, but I said dude, which suggests male, and we don't know that. That could very well be a female. That could be someone who's transgender. Who knows? That could be someone who's non-binary. We don't know. And for some reason, he's not wearing socks, and that's probably uncomfortable. I don't know, maybe it's exactly what is comfortable. Maybe they have amazing calluses on the backs of their heels, and so it makes it really easy to slip on a pair of shoes without any socks on, and it doesn't hurt at all, right? And I said I want to give him a hug, but he doesn't seem in the mood because, well, concrete wall, right? Well, that's all just opinion. I want to give him a hug. Oh, I feel bad. Those aren't facts, right? That is trying to entertain a little. When I wrote it, I was trying to kind of make people maybe laugh a little with the concrete wall bit at the end. I'm trying to say, like, I kind of feel for this person because they're leaning against a hard wall, and hopefully you might empathize with them as well, or sympathize even with them, because they do look sad, and I can't relate to wanting to put my face against a concrete wall at the moment. But so you can see that these two pieces of writing are based on the same image, but very different purposes, very different goals. And that is key to objective versus subjective writing. And we write for science, we want to write objective and subjective. So what comes next are 2 images for you to practice on. I'd like to see you practice on those. And then finally, find an image of your own. Either, go around your community, go around your home, take a photo, try to describe it objectively, but also describe it subjectively. This is a great exercise if you like to do a lot of work with automotives and you would like to work with engines. Take a picture of a dirt bike, of an ATV. Take a picture of, if you like to fish or hunt, take a picture of your fishing rod. Take a picture of an animal that you were able to get during season. If you love video games, take a picture of your console. See what that looks like. If you love music, maybe a screenshot from a playlist. How can you describe things that you really have a deep feeling about in a way that's more objective? That's a great exercise for you to think a little more like a scientist. So if you have any questions, reach out to me and I'll be glad to help.